This episode of ASTERIkast has been brought to you by BitGravity. For all your content distribution needs, visit bitgravity.com. And by Digium, the creators of Asterisk, the open source PBX. Visit them at digium.com, asterisk.org, and asterisknow.org.
I'm Mark Spitzer, and this is ASTERIkast.
Welcome to episode 4 of ASTERIkast. I'm Tony.
And I'm John.
And before we get started today, we'd like to talk about our new website. Some of the new features available are the ability to stream our media instead of just downloading it. You can now stream all of our videos straight off the site before you choose to download it. This gives you the availability to look at the video and see if it has the content you'd like to download. We get this from one of our new sponsors, which is bitgravity.com. BitGravity gives you the ability to distribute all your content, whether it be audio, video, or software. Please visit them at www.bitgravity.com. Also, our new improved forums. Please visit our forums and sign up today. This gives us a chance to get more information and input back from you guys, which is very helpful to us. We do use the information you give us to decide what we talk about in our next episodes. A lot of people in our last forums we had said, please cover episode 1 again. The video and audio quality was too hard to read and understand. So instead of covering episode 1 all over again, we're redoing this in episode 4. The reason being is that Asterisk 1.4 has been released, which has quite a few different changes in it, which is worth redoing and updating to the new version. There have been some changes made. So we're going to go ahead and get started today. I'm going to pass over to John, who's going to go ahead and get it kicked off.
All right, so as you can see sitting right here, I have a Slackware 12 vanilla installation. I'm in the root directory, and the only things that I have in the root directory are my AGIs, just an example of some extensions, and a file called ownast. Simply, these are some files that I'm going to use in this episode. It's a vanilla installation. So to get started, I'm going to cd into the user source directory so I can always keep my source on hand, because sometimes I just may want to patch my current version of Asterisk, and so I keep everything in the user source directory now, which is obviously different from the first episode. So the first thing I'm going to get is the ikSEML engine to be able to use gTalk. So I get that from Google Code. And it's a pretty quick download here, and it's actually a pretty quick install as well. So now that I have the file downloaded, I'm going to go tar, and I'm going to untar the file. And I'm going to do a configure prefix of user. And this just takes a moment. We're actually going to install 6 packages total, including the Asterisk package. And this is just simply one that makes it so we can interface with gTalks. And then I just typed make, M-A-K-E. I'm sorry, I went a little fast there. And this one is pretty fast. This package is important to make sure. On this vanilla Slackware installation, we have GNU-TLS installed, but you have to have GNU-TLS installed. And when I did the Slackware installation, I did a full installation, the whole 4.5 gigs. So when we're done, we type make install -strip. And what stripping does is it removes all of the library, or all of the debugging extensions. Not every application supports install -strip. All right, so ikSEML is installed. Now I'm going to get libpri from Asterisk. I'm going to get that from downloads.digium.com. And it's just like an FTP site after that. And thanks to Digium for making the dash currents available, so that way I don't have to worry.
And all these links are also available on our website. If you scroll down a little bit on the right-hand side, it has Asterisk downloads. as far as we can do our best, we keep those up to date for you. So we have Asterisk available, the Asterisk add-ons, libpri, and gTalk available.
Yep, and libpri has no configure script, so you just type make and make install, because it also does not include make install strip. So simply that much it's installed. You can do an LD config to update your library path if that makes you feel good. Then you can do we're going to go and get the gTalk package. gTalk. Current. This package is a little bit bigger. It contains mostly kernel modules and a few binary applications. And it does contain a configure script. The nice thing about the configure scripts in Asterisk 1.4 is they don't require a prefix, because they follow the old 1.2 standards of the locations where they put the files, which is awesome. So I did a make, and now it's going to run through and install the modules. And this just takes a moment to do this. And really, I could have, since we're doing a voice over IP only machine here, because I'm, as you can see, I'm using VirtualBox to emulate Linux, and so I don't have to have a whole machine available, and I get a really nice screen recording using GTK Record My Desktop, or just Record My Desktop with GTK Record My Desktop as a front end. So we don't have the ability to put PCI cards in this. Almost done here. So just finishing up the module build. And we can do a make install. And this will just install the modules in the correct directory. And a new feature with this is you can run make config. I'll run it just to show you what it says, even though it won't do anything on this. It'll actually detect your hardware and load it in a boot script, so that way your UDEV can correctly detect it. All right, the next package I'm going to get is Asterisk, and like Tony said, he's going to post these links on the website, because this is kind of a long, complicated link that I'm actually copying from the show notes.
Which will be posted on the site. We didn't do a very good job of it last 3 episodes, but from now on we'll try to have all the show notes available. So if you miss something or don't understand what we're saying, or don't completely understand what's on the screen, you can go back to the show notes, and technically you should be able to do all this install via the show notes alone. But all the links will be on there as well, so you'll be able to copy and paste them in.
All right, it's downloading now. And this one does have a configure script, and you are required, or you're not required, but I recommend prefix user. If you don't include prefix user, it'll default install to user local / user / local, and I usually like to try to keep those clean. In fact, on some of my installs, I've actually removed the user local directory on some of my Asterisk installs that I actually sell to clients, just so if they're trying to build an application from source, they can try to kind of follow a standard that I prefer. So I'm going to type make, and this one takes a little bit longer. There's almost a meg worth of source code in Asterisk. What Asterisk is a codec, and Asterisk has been known to run between 2K and I think 20 or 30K, so it can go from extremely compressed to not so much compressed. However, the extremely compressed version, you can definitely tell it's extremely compressed.
It's not a codec you'd want to use on a production server.
I mean, you want to use it on a production server, but you wouldn't want to use a super compressed version on a production server. Google gTalk supports Asterisk just because of its bandwidth savings. You make install -strip, and you can do an LD config if it makes you feel good, because it installed new libraries. And next we're going to download Asterisk. And this one's 11 megs, so it's a little bit bigger, but with the internet here, we shouldn't take too long to download. Now we do have to actually do a couple of updates to the make file because we choose to not run our Asterisk as root, and you can do whatever you feel like, but
It's obviously a safer idea not to run it as root.
there are some some things you have to give up. You can't call a ping application directly from Perl. You have to use one that's been change modded correctly and things like that. So you do give up a few things, but on our machine, security is the most important. So I go into Asterisk 1.4.11. I'm going to edit the make file, and I'm going to go down to the section that's underneath where it talks about SunOS, where it says AST var run directory, and I'm going to change that to Asterisk. Then I'm going to do configure. And simply it does the exact same things that the configure did. It checks for a few extra libraries, such as the one we installed, like ikseml and SPX. It'll check for those to make sure that it can compile and support for those applications. And we'll show you the new awesome menu config that Asterisk has put in. It's
One of the wonderful new features of 1.4.
Yeah, one of the reasons to put 1.4 on, and for all you out there that use Gentoo and things like that, the bad thing is you have to install 1.4 from source because there's no portage direct ebuild for 1.4, which kind of sucks. So do a make menu select. And this takes just a moment because it has to compile a few sources and run a small configure. All right, this is the cool new feature. You can actually make sure that the applications you want installed get installed. As you can see, one of our channel drivers that we wanted was a gTalk, and on the bottom there you can see depends on ikseml and resjabber, and it will be compiled because it detected ikseml. Codecs, it'll install the default codecs, including SPX. For the most part, that's all we really have to worry about, except for the extras add-on sound package. And I'm going to install the GSM so it fits the same thing as the core sound modules. On some devices, you can switch to ULAW if you prefer to use ULAW, but Asterisk usually recommends using GSM. So in order to get out of the screen and have it save the settings, you press S. Then you type make, and the application will build. I guess at this point, while the application is building, we can maybe talk about what we already talked about in episode 1.4, which is what kind of machine does it take to run Asterisk? I mean, this is the question you see on the biz forums, or on the biz mailing list, on the forums. What does it take to run Asterisk? And the question is, who knows?
The answer is who knows. Yeah.
I mean, the answer is who knows.
It all depends on what you want to do with your Asterisk installation.
That's right. We've done tests, with a 400 megahertz Celeron that has a single PRI into it, and it took the calls, and it performed fairly well. However, if you wanted to SSH into it to make changes, you couldn't even type. Mm-hmm. So maybe that, because it's running a PRI card and things like that, it may be a little less predictable. With SIP, we have multiple machines out there, and you can see a good example of one of our installs at www.sipmeeting.com. They handle the conferencing, and basically what SipMeeting has done is designed a conference bridge based on Asterisk that is either PRI or voice over IP. The SipMeeting one is actually run on PRI, but we have others out there that are running on VoIP only, and our VoIP only ones are running anywhere between dual 3.2s or quad 3.2s, and the dual 3.2s have been known to take 200 calls, and the dual quads have been known to take 333 is what our max what our max call volume is on those. Each of those have 2 gigs of RAM, and hard drives don't matter. We have 36 gig hard drives in them because they're Asterisk only applications. And conferencing, so I mean, then you've got extra resources by dumping everybody into a conference. So that's what they are. They're conferencing devices.
You can choose to break it down into 3 simple groups. I mean, there's a large, vast variety, but there's pretty much hobbyists, what I call advanced hobbyists, and then there's production. hobbyists can get away with a 400 megahertz processor. You can get away with just very simple, trying to set up what we're doing today, test it, see if it works, move on from there. Advanced hobbyists, such as John and I, would probably want a little nicer machine so we could test further features, including MySQL, nicer codecs as well. And then production server, you're going to want something nicer, just so you have more reliability across adding more channels to as well.
Mm-hmm. So the simple answer is it all depends on your application.
Absolutely.
What you're going to be using. We tend to find multiple 4-port PRI cards in a machine tend to really tax the machine, and voice over IP, if at all possible, is going to give you a way better number of calls per machine. So our install's almost finished here. Just finishing up a few last checks and builds. And we'll be ready to install. All right, so now we do a make install. And now you can see it's actually downloading another package while it's installing. And what that package is the extras that we chose to install.
Which is nice. It saves you one extra step you have to do during your installation.
Correct. It's very nice. Then you can do a make samples, which we usually do. We end up changing most of it, but that's what we do.
Yep. It also generates the config files. So when you go through them, you get a nice explanation of what each part of the config file does for you. When we get into like extensions.conf, you'll see that it explains thoroughly what each part of the extensions.conf does. It's very helpful to people who have never used Asterisk before. We personally go through and delete most of that out because it's not useful to us. But it's very helpful for you, especially if it's your first time, to sit down and read through it before you change anything. Maybe even copy it over, rename it, so you have it sitting there as a backup. So you can go back and refer to the comments to understand exactly what parts of those extension.conf does.
Sure. All right, so now we're going to go and install the Asterisk add-ons, and we get those at Asterisk as well. And we are going to do a little bit more of a custom install on this, which isn't that big of a deal because we can use Asterisk's awesome new menuing system. So we run the configure script first. And then we run a make menu select. It'll simply build the XML parsers to be able to parse it. And we're going to take out OpenH323. We don't use it. You can compile it in if you want to. And I pressed S to save. I'm going to hit make, and this compiles very fast because it's just a few applications. All right. And I can see I need to move this out because I put it in the wrong directory. Okay, so now I'm going to go and get a package that we like to install. And you can tell why by the URL. And we go down to downloads, and we're going to get the G729, G723 codec for Asterisk 1.4. We're going to save it. And I got the wrong one, so I'm going to get this one instead. Codec Slackware. All right, unzip.
And if you didn't see that, he used the command links, L-I-N-K-S.
That's correct.
Which is a quick, just text-based web browser to use. It comes default installed with Slackware.
So I'm going to move these codecs to user lib asterisk modules. Oops. I really hosed that up. Okay. Let's make sure they got there. We're good. All right. I'm just going to go ahead and remove the codecs, all those codecs that I downloaded, because we don't need those for later. You can always come back to ASTERIkast.com and get those. All right, so I'm not even ready to start Asterisk yet, but I'm close. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add a group called Asterisk. So like I said, we're not going to run Asterisk as root. And I've already done that. And I'm just typing in the command so you can see this. I've already done this as well. So that's exactly what you'll type. And you can see that he's added now. Group ID 102, UID 1000. Then in the root directory, one of my scripts that I've already downloaded is this own AST script. And all this does is does chounds on all of the important Asterisk directories, or all of the Asterisk directories, and owns them as Asterisk. So that way when you start Asterisk, it has the ability to read and write these directories. And one other thing I'm going to do, since we're not using zaptel, I'm just going to touch an empty zaptel.conf. And I'm going to cp own AST to user bin.
And we'll put that own AST up on the website for you to download.
On the website. And I hit own AST, no errors, so that's good. And we're going to run safe asterisk minus u. So actually now we're going to start asterisk minus u for user. And hit enter. And you'll see now we're in asterisk. One other thing that I like to do is edit the safe asterisk file, especially on asterisk only installs. And I like to change the priority to -20 to give it the highest priority. Now you might think that that's kind of weird because 0 is neutral ground, +20 is nice to everything else, and -20 is not nice. So if you think of it in this way, the higher you go, the nicer you are. The lower you go, the meaner you are.
Yep.
So that's exactly what we're doing here.
Or just remember it as a golf score. The lower you go, the better.
Yep, there you go. Everybody wants a -20 when they golf.
That's right. I wish I had one.
So then there's a couple other cool things in this file. One is the terminal. So that way, if I wasn't running VirtualBox, I could show you. Control F9 will actually pop me right into an Asterisk console. Notify, type in an email address, and what it'll do is it'll send me an email if Asterisk crashes, and I can also make it execute a command if I wish. I'm not going to do any of that because this is not a production box, but normally I would if it's a production box. So in order to make my priority changes start, I need to do a stop now, then a safe asterisk minus u asterisk minus g asterisk. And we are in. And if we did a PSAUX, you can see that it's running, that the application's running. All right, now we're going to simply do a SIP extension. And for a SIP extension, we're actually going to delete the SIP file because there's too much stuff in there.
But again, we highly suggest you read through it if it's the first time you've ever used Asterisk. It has plenty of comment code in there to help you understand what it is that sip.conf does.
All right, so far what I've added here is I've added a general context, and I've said that the default context that this should pop into in the extensions.conf is default, and that it allows guests, so anyone can SIP to my device. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to disallow all codecs, and I'm going to allow EULA. This is just default for every single one. My default DTMF mode is going to be RFC 2833, and my default canary invite option is going to be no. And canary invite, what it does is it says if asterisk should get out of the way of the media path. So if you think of two SIP phones talking to each other, and somebody makes the call, it goes through asterisk rings the other phone. Once the connection's set up, Asterisk can actually step out of the media path so those two phones are just talking to each other. This is really useful if you're sure there's no firewalls in the way. If there's firewalls in the way, canary invite can cause some issues. I'm also going to add user 100. He's a friend. And a friend basically means, this is kind of confusing, but a friend means he's a user on this Asterisk machine. He's going to come to this Asterisk machine to authenticate himself. His default context is going to be default, and like I say, if you don't understand what that means, you will in a moment. We're going to disallow all, allow EULA, allow G729. So what this means is it's going to first allow EULA. So EULA is the first preference codec. The second preference codec is G729.
And it's important that you put the disallow first because that cancels out all availability, and then you re-enable those codecs as they go down the list.
Yep. So then the next thing we're going to put is username equals 100, secret equals 100. So that's basically username and password that the phone's going to send. And we don't have to put can reinvite no here because we already know that we're not going to allow it to reinvite. And while I'm in here, I'm just going to go ahead and add 101 because we've got two GrandStream devices. We've got a budget tone 100 and a budget tone 486. So I'm just going to do pretty much the exact same thing. I'm just going to change the username and the secret.
And those are all configured inside the GrandStream devices. And for more information on that, you can refer to the user manual of the GrandStreams. They're really not that hard to set up. They're all usually web interface, or you can do it via the touchpad as well, but they're really easy to set up. So if you have any questions about that, you can check the manual on that, or check the manual for your device that you choose to use.
All right, so what I'm doing here is I'm resetting my my GrandStream phone, so it will, so you can actually see it sync up to the Asterisk server. It takes just a second. So now you can see that that we forgot one option in the sip.conf called host dynamic. This is actually really important, and it's good that I broke it there, because otherwise I would have skipped over it really fast. Host dynamic makes sure that the device can sync from anywhere, and you can put a single IP address in there, but on a DHCP network, it's probably important that you use host dynamic.
And it's important that after you add that, you also reload Asterisk.
Yeah, and you have to go asterisk space -R and then type reload. Okay, so we'll go ahead and reboot this phone again so it gets happy. And this phone can sometimes be fidgety with restarts, so that's why we actually unplug it.
Mm-hmm. We're not trying to downplay GrandStreams, but there are some issues sometimes.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, this is the prime example of you get what you pay for.
Exactly.
And I paid $60 for this phone. So.
Whereas if you pay a little more for a Cisco phone or a Polycom,
yep,
you're going to get a little more out of it.
So I'm going to do a SIP show peers, and you'll see that I'm ranged up. And if Tony will reboot the other one, it should range up as well.
And just so you can see the difference here, this is the Polycom phone. You can see it's a phone setup, and this is the the GrandStream phone. This is the Budge Tone 100, and then this is the Handy Tone 486 by GrandStream. And the nice thing about this is you can use any analog phone you have in your home and turn it into an IP phone with Asterisk by this. You plug your standard phone line right into the phone port on this, and it works great if you don't have to go out and buy a brand new phone. And it works really awesome if you're trying to network your whole home into Asterisk. Otherwise, if you're looking just specifically for an IP phone, you can go with the GrandStream Budge Tone 100.
And for some reason, that phone isn't ranging up, which isn't which isn't unusual because we were having issues with this earlier today. Yeah. So I'm not really that surprised about it. So okay, so we've got our SIP devices set up. However, they have nowhere to call. So we're going to edit the extensions.conf. We're going to remove mostly everything. I would say 99%. Just the stuff that Asterisk leaves default or Digium leaves default uncommented out, and then pretty much everything else I'm going to remove out here. All right, so the first thing we're going to add is a local context, and the first thing we're going to include in the local context is default. And we're going to go ahead and make a demo setup. And in the demo setup, we're basically going to make it play a file. And sir. And answering the call is important. Some devices, such as, or some applications such as gTalk, don't handle too well to not answering, and the media won't play well. However, if you're using a PRI circuit, you don't have to answer the channel, and it won't answer. And if you can actually hand back a PRI cause code, but if you answer the channel, then the switch thinks that the call got answered, and you're going to be billed for it. Last thing I'm going to do is hang up. One other thing I'm going to do here on these 700s is I'm going to add an underscore in front of them, which basically means ignore the first character. I tend to have a lot better luck when I add that. I'm going to go ahead and dial 700.
Weasels have eaten our phone system.
And you can see that I left the SIP debug on. If I go SIP set debug off, and I go ahead and call it again, you can actually see our dial plan in action. And you can tell that by the green and purple. All right, so we've made our first Asterisk telephone call. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new file called outbound.conf. And we're going to create a context in there called outbound. And we're going to create default routes for our any of our outbound calls, so our 7-digit or 10-digit or 7-digit or 11-digit dialing. Here in Spencer, we do 7-digit or 11-digit, 1+ or NXX, XX, XX. So what I just added there was the equivalent of saying like 580-7050. The X simply just stands for any digit. You can do other digits like N, and N will only accept a certain range of digits, but for our purposes here, we're just going to do all X's. So we're gonna dial SIP peer, and we haven't actually created this peer. I'm just kind of showing you how it works. We'll go and create a fake peer here in a second because we have nobody to peer with here because we're extremely firewalled here. And I'm going to hang up. So basically what I've done here is any 7-digit number is going to start here because it's priority 1. It's going to dial SIP, the peer name, the extension that I dialed, which is the same thing as the 7 digits except filled in. It's going to try to ring that for 20 seconds if it gets a connection. If there's no connection, it's going to go right to hang up, but otherwise it's going to try to ring it for 20 seconds and then go to hang up. I'm also going to do the same thing for 11-digit. All right, we got it. So now, if we simply just edit the sip.conf, and I'll show you quickly how to make a peer. And let's do it right here, and we called it peer, and this is where the name comes from. And it's going to be a type of a peer. Context, it'll be default, and that only matters if that peer is going to send you calls. We'll do EULA, and let's say that they like to do just GSM. They're an Asterisk only provider and they like to send the calls GSM. Host equals some peer dot ASTERIkast.com. And let's say they've got a username of John, secret of XGTH67. Something like that. I suppose that could be similar to something that you need. And let's say that you've got an external interface. You're going to do a canray invite equals yes. You do *-r, reload. You type some, for example, 580-7050 send. And I forgot to include it in my extensions.conf. That's important. So we're going to include a file by saying pound include outbound.conf. Then you're going to come down here, and below demo, this is actually going to be the last thing in our dial plan. Nothing like starting backwards. And we're going to do asterisk minus R, reload. Now we'll have better luck. Oops, I hung it up. I missed something up here. Oh, don't call it .conf because it's actually the name of the context rather than the rather than outbound.conf isn't the name of the. So there, you can see the call went through. It tried to connect to the peer. It was unable to connect to the peer, and it went directly to hang up. So if you had a SIP peer, you would actually put it in the same spot where I put the peer. However, like I say, we don't have a peer to use. All right, so now what we're going to do is give your telephone a DID. You can get your DIDs, direct inward dial from your telephone company, from a like a SIP peer, IX peer, anything like that. This should be pretty standard.
And there's a couple of websites you can get them from too as well online.
Yep. So did.conf is what we'll call the file. We'll include DID. And remember, we're including outbound last because if you think about this, I'll just go into this to show you real quick. If you think about this, by having all X's there, what that's going to mean is that it's going to capture anything with those digits. And if you've got that first, it's going to capture that digit pattern. So that's why we have our outbound as last. So now we're going to go ahead and edit the did.conf. And we're going to call the context DID. And we're going to have a really, really difficult phone number. Our phone number is going to be extend 999-999-9999. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to answer it. You don't have to answer it in this instance because when you pick the actual phone up, it's going to answer it. However, I'm just going to answer it. So dial SIP/100. And I'm going to do that for 20 seconds. So now, if I dial 999-999-9999, you can see that my phone just started to ring again. So it's basically like a call waiting. So I'm going to hang that up. So there. So now that's as simple as it is to add a DID. And if you have a peer provider, such as like one in our SIP.conf, and you have an incoming number from them, you'd actually change this context here to say DID. Then it won't drop right into your default context, which is probably a little more secure. All right, so let's give this guy some voicemail. We're going to pretty much keep this file intact, and we're going to scroll down to the context default, and we're going to give, first thing we type in is the mailbox number, and we're going to make it simple and make it the same as the phone number. And we're going to make the password 1234, my name, and my email address. And you can do something simple like time zone equals central if you're hosting a box across the country. Attach equals yes to make sure that it attaches the file. Say caller ID equals yes. That's probably good enough. And those options can actually be set up here, but we'll just put it down here just so we're sure. All right. So before we do that, let's actually make that work. So we edit the did.conf, then we go in after the dial, we do extend the 9 number, and then we do voicemail, and then we're going to say in this instance we can do voicemail extend because it's just going to pass the extension, and we're going to have it play the unavailable message.
It's important to notice that if you don't want to wait as long to go straight to voicemail, you can change the 20 to 10 or 5. And the longer you have that number, the higher you have that number, the longer it is before they actually get their voicemail. So if you know you're going to be out of the office, there's other options. But another option is to set that to a lower amount so it goes straight to voicemail.
Right. All right, so let's give it a shot. I moved it to 5 so we don't have to wait as long. So we're ringing.
The person at extension 99999999999 is unavailable. Please leave your message after the tone. When done, hang up or press the pound key.
All right, so now as you can see, we're recording a voicemail. So I'm going to go ahead and hang up.
And then you see that in the command line as well.
Yep. So now we've got a voicemail. What good is having a voicemail if I can't check it? So I'm going to go ahead and edit my extensions.conf and add a really quick voicemail checker. So I'm going to say voicemail, my context, and I always like to make my my voicemail context 500. I don't know why, but every machine that I've ever done, my voicemail context is always 500.
Of course, it can be anything you want.
My voicemail number, I mean. 2, and yeah, it can be any number you want.
As long as you're not already using it for something else.
Right. Because keep in mind that this priority order will override anything else. So I could have a 500 somewhere else, but as long as it'll follow the priority order. So picture the call coming in, checking demo, checking DID, and then checking outbound. If it doesn't get anything, it's gonna fire a 404 back to the phone saying it wasn't found. So voicemail main, I'm gonna say nothing at all. And I'm gonna add another one at the end. Hang up.
And as you can see, the order goes from 1, 2 to 3.
Yep, the priority.
But you can also use 1, N, N, N.
That's very true.
Which stands for next.
Yep, so you can actually do this too. It means the exact same thing. So let's go ahead. Oh, we forgot to include it. So simply we go above our outbound and say include voicemail. We're gonna dial 500.
Comedian mail. Mailbox.
And this is where it actually asks for everything. So I'm gonna dial 999-999-9999. Pound.
Password.
1, 2, 3, 4, pound.
You have one new
There we go.
message. Press 1 for.
So now, that's fun, except I don't want to enter that every time. So now I know that it's going to come directly from me. I know I'm dialing my own voicemail. So I'm going to add extend, or no, I'm going to add, sorry, 999-999-9999.
Now this is great if you're doing this maybe for your house or other things. If this is a business you're planning to use this for, and you want to make sure that each person's voicemail is secure, you wouldn't want to do this. This is pretty much putting their password in for them.
It is not putting their password, it's just putting their user account. But what you can do is if they're calling from their desk phone, you can actually pull the caller ID variable just like this. However, our caller ID shows 100. But you can say caller ID, and you can say num, just like this, and that'll fill that spot in for you, and it'll still ask you for the password like I'm going to show you here.
Saves one step.
Yep, saves one step. So now if I dial 500,
Password.
it just asks me for my password. All right, so let's take it one step further. You trust everybody on your phone network, blah, blah, blah. So you add an S. Now you dial it.
You have one
No password.
new message.
So that's the way personally in my office with my Asterisk installation, I have it set up. Of course, it's an office of 5 people, so that makes sense.
And they all report to John if something goes wrong with the phone.
If something goes wrong with the phone. Somebody stole my voicemail.
That's right.
So, all right. So the next thing we're going to do is, personally, my favorite part is getting gTalk working. Now we've already signed up for an account, and I'm going to show you the file, but just keep in mind we're going to change the password.
And any gTalk account will work with if you already have a Gmail account.
Right.
So
I'm going to cheat because I already have Jabber and gTalk written, and I'm going to copy them to Etsy Asterisk. And I will show you the insides of the files. However, I'm just going to recommend that you go and download ours. They're not that advanced. It's just the first time you configure it, it's kind of difficult. So simply, you've got debug off, auto prune off, auto register on. It's client, server host it's connecting to because it is Jabber and it can connect to any Jabber-based system. The username, and you have to add /talk after that, otherwise it won't authenticate. The password, the port, if you're using TLS SASL for encryption, and then the status message. This is what shows up next to the username, and the timeout. Then I'm going to edit the gTalk, show you that. This is the default context it comes into if it allows guests. And then here's the guest context. It's going to say this allows all, allows you law, and the default context in the extensions.conf it drops you into as guest. All right, so now that we get that out of the way, we're going to write a really quick and dirty, simple gTalk script. So in the extensions.conf, we're going to say under default, below voicemail, we're going to say include, if I could type it, guest. Right here, I'm going to say guest. And we're going to say extend S, because S is the context that it default drops it into. We're going to say answer. This is very important on gTalk. If you don't say answer, there will be no media path. Media path is already kind of finicky on it. If you're behind a firewall like we are, we're going to show you that audio won't work, but we see the call come in. SIP/100. We're going to ring for 20 seconds. Then we're going to go to voicemail for extension 999-999-9999. All right, so we're there. Now we're going to do asterisk space -R, do a reload, and we're going to do jabber show connected. And we'll see that we're already connected. So we're going to go ahead and have Tony give me a quick call here on gTalk.
Open up my gTalk here, and I am going to select ASTERIkast.
He invited me, so you should see that pop up.
Yep. And I'm going to go ahead and call.
You having an issue with your gTalk? Oh, there it goes. Now try it. Now we got your presence handler. So now try to give me a call.
There we go.
And you'll see unfortunately, because we're behind a firewall, the call doesn't come in. So
I'll go ahead and hang up here.
yeah, go ahead and end the call. So unfortunately, because we're behind a firewall, that doesn't work. However, it does work. And
As contradictory as that sounds, we just have a little extra firewall rule here before we.
Right. So the next thing I'm gonna have, I wrote this quick and dirty get name script, because by default gTalk doesn't support caller ID names. So I wrote this script that'll be available on our website that will support getting the name from the gTalk channel. So actually the user name of the person that's calling you will show up. And I'm going to copy that to the AGI bin. And I'm going to, I have to quickly install the AGI protocol, or the AGI application. This is available freely on the internet, so I do a make install, and we're going to go ahead and go back to extensions.conf. And right in here, where we did our guest context, before we dial, we're going to say extend S2, and we're going to say AGI get name.pl. I'm going to say channel, and we're going to do extend S3. We're going to do basically a set caller ID all, and we're going to tell the telephone that it's a gTalk, and the phone number is going to be $gTalk _ name. So that'll display the name on the second line, or on the place where it would normally show the telephone number, and the rest of the stuff we're going to leave the same. We won't show it to you. It works. but we won't show it to you because obviously we're having an issue or because of the firewall. So lastly, we're going to do the meetme.conf and create a quick conference. First thing you do is you edit the etc asterisk meetme.conf. You comment out conference number 1234. And then we're going to go ahead and edit the extensions.conf. And above Outbound here, we're going to include conference. Then we're going to add a new conference context right here. And we're going to say extend, and we'll just do extension, how about 201. We'll just say meet me. We'll show you what happens here. And we'll just go ahead and we'll dial 200.
Please enter your conference number followed by
And our
the
conference
pound
number is 1234
key.
pound.
You are currently the only person in this conference.
All right. And that's just default options. If you want to go a little bit more advanced with your Meet Me conference, you can simply edit the extensions.conf and add the options to Meet Me. And there's quite a few options. You can find out a lot of them at voipinfo.org. However,
Which is a great site. Just a side note. If you have any questions about Asterisk ever, voip-info.org is one of the best sites you can ever visit.
however, a lot of the information on VoIP Info has kind of gone old since 1.4, but it's still valuable. All right, so I made my changes. I didn't make it 100, I made it 200.
After the tone, say your name.
So we
and
simply
then
added
press the pound key.
a way to connect into the conference, but first we have to record our name.
Thank you. You are currently the only person
And now we're in
this
the conference.
Now there's other options, like you hear here.
Music on hold.
Music on hold when you enter the conference. So if you're the only user in that conference, they get music, and then as soon as someone else enters that conference, it drops the music and the conference begins.
That's correct. One other thing, lastly, before I finish my spiel and Tony takes back over, is in the meetme.conf, you can add optional PIN numbers and admin PIN numbers. So I'm going to make mine PIN number 12345, my admin PIN number 123456. And if I dial,
That is not a valid conference number.
and simply, I think it's because I didn't, probably because I got that extra space there.
Please enter the conference PIN number.
So now I could enter,
After the tone, say your name and then press the pound key.
and there we go.
So we entered 123456 as this PIN number, so he can legally enter the conference. That's a way to stop unauthorized users from entering conferences.
So you have a conference number, you have a PIN number, and then if you're an admin, you have an admin PIN number. And if you have the S option set, quickly, I'll show you that. If you have the S option set on the extensions.conf, which I think we probably do, it means you can pull the menu. And if I go in and dial 200,
Please enter the conference. After the tone, say your name and then press the pound key.
John,
Thank you. You are currently the only person in this conference.
then I can hit the
Please press
star
the
key.
mute or
And I
unmute
can
yourself.
control myself. If I'm a moderator, I can actually do a few more options like kick people and things like that. With that, I think I'm going to turn it back to Tony. Next episode, I guess quickly, we're going to be talking about building a menuing system, preventing telemarketers, and building a quick little AGI application
That's
from my
correct.
side.
So in the last few minutes here, we'd like to first of all recognize some of our sponsors who've made ASTERIkast episode 4 possible. As you've noticed, this episode is quite a bit more presented than episode 1 through 3. Majorly, and first of all, we'd like to appreciate and acknowledge Digium. They came through for us. We've had some contact with Mark Spencer. He's been a great guy to talk with. And through some of our contact with Digium, they've become one of our sponsors. It's a great feeling to be sponsored by the company who we're trying to do this whole show for in the first place. So please visit them at www.digium.com. If you're a business, they do have a business edition of Asterisk. It comes with support and more information as well. If you're doing this as a hobbyist, you can visit another one of their sites, which is www.asterisk.org. where you can download all versions of Asterisk and pretty much any information we've had here as far as libpri and all that information. As you can see through our command line, we have most of everything at downloads.digium.com. Another site to visit is asterisknow.org, which is a quick graphical installation of Asterisk. We will be covering that in future episodes on how to use Asterisk Now for all of you that would prefer to use that. It has a web interface GUI that lets you configure everything through the web instead of command line. Again, Digium also has some great hardware solutions for you as well, so please check out www.digium.com. Some other sponsors we have are Eden Soto. Eden Soto is a great motion graphics designer. Visit Eden's site at www.edensoto.com. That's EDENSOTO.com. Eden made the intro, the lower thirds, and the credit bed for our site. Again, that's edensoto.com. Also, please visit bitgravity.com, another one of our sponsors. BitGravity's website is www.bitgravity.com, and they are a content distribution site. They distribute our videos via streaming and downloads. They have distribution options for video, audio, software, and advertising. So again, please visit them and consider them for all your distribution needs at www.bitgravity.com. We'd like to finish up by saying thank you very much. We're glad to finally get episode 4 out. Look forward to episode 5 and episode 6. They should be coming out not too short of a time here, or not too long of a time, excuse me. Also, if you're looking for ways to help support us in any way whatsoever, one way is to just give us a donation on our site. If you'd like a little something back for that, you can also purchase our t-shirts, which we just got more of. This is a t-shirt of ASTERIkast. It is a charcoal gray shirt. It says ASTERIkast on the front. The back, it says www.asterikast.com. Those are available underneath the support us link on asterikast.com. Also, if you'd like to become a sponsor for ASTERIkast, please contact us at tony@asterikast.com. I appreciate your time. I think that's all we have for today. But again, visit www.asterikast.com. That'll do it for episode 4. Again, I'm Tony.
And I'm John.
And this has been ASTERIkast, episode 4.